Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 428 of the DrunkNerds podcast. I'm host, as always, I'm Tyler, and joining me with the man, the myth, the legend himself, Sir Colonel Gables. What's up, buddy?
Dude, let me tell you, I'm doing pretty well. Got my second shot today. On top of that, it feels like I'm getting more so into Destiny 2 because of the new season that released this past week. So I've been playing a hell of a lot of that. But at the same time, been very excited because baseball season has actually been pretty fruitful for the Oakland Athletics. So they've been on a hot streak as of late. They've been beating teams like the Red Sox. They were in a series against the Minnesota Twins, which the Twins are hit and miss. They're not doing so well so far this season, but I'm just excited because it's the first time in a long while with the Oakland A's have started off red hot. They've got like over 20 wins already, and it's not even the end of May. So that's always a good sign for any baseball team if they have plus 30, like plus 20 some odd wins and stuff just to start off. Not even like the first two seasons, but no, first 2 months done. But
The future San Jose Ace.
well, honestly, it is what it is. I'm not sure if it's San Jose because that's Giants territory, but let me tell you, when it comes to the Oakland Athletics, that team has been negotiating with the city of Oakland for years in regards to not only having a stadium to call their own, quintessentially, because the whole thing with Al Davis helping create that damn dual function stadium, but
Yeah.
if it ends up that the Oakland A's are going to have to go through and hightail a move, I mean, there's nothing really much I can do about it. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I thought it was interesting that that Major League Baseball actually issued a statement about the Oakland Athletics. I mean, the A's could still like pursue like try to get a ballpark in Oakland, and from what I've been hearing, they want a $12 billion like thing, not only for the new stadium but also for a shopping district and a hotel. Try to redevelop the city of Oakland since, well, let's just be perfectly honest, the city of Oakland and stuff is pretty awful. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie, because the crime, all the vagrant violence, all the other shit. I mean,
And it's
it's
kind of the poor side of the Golden Gate Bridge. So,
yeah, quintessentially though. I mean, to be a fun fact for all the listeners and all the watchers out there, he's like, yeah, I was born in California and I used to live between San Francisco and Oakland. but
he lived on the Golden Gate Bridge.
no, not on the Golden Gate Bridge. It was like smack dab in the middle, like with a Pittsburgh, California type of shit, where it's yeah, it was very interesting. I don't remember much of it because I was only a child and I moved out of there when I was like 3 to Washington
27.
State. But
Huh.
other than that, though, it's like I'm just interested in seeing what happens next. Major League Baseball has stated the Oakland A's need a capable stadium that's going to fit their competitive needs. And the city of Oakland, I don't believe, is going to even remotely try to give a shit about keeping them there. So
Yeah.
it is what it is. I'm gonna be keeping my eyes on it. But other than that, though, it really hasn't been that bad of a week. So how about you, Tyler?
Doing all right. I got my second shot last Sunday. So,
Hmm.
felt pretty good Sunday for the most part. Had a sore arm. Like the last shot I got, I felt totally fine afterwards.
Yeah.
But yeah, this Monday got kicked my ass pretty good. Just no low energy, kind of a little feverish, but Tuesday woke up, felt fine. But other than that, doing okay. It is Saturday night recording this. I had a couple of vacation days I had to use up before June 1st, or I lost them. So kind of worked out perfectly with uh, Mass Effect weekend being this weekend. I got Friday off,
Mm.
and then I had yesterday off. Now I have Monday off, so I got a nice little 4-day weekend there, which has been pretty nice. Been kind of lounging around, being a little lazy. Um, Playing a lot of Mass Effect. You and I were talking about for quite a while before the show. Usually we don't talk about stuff we're going to talk about on the show. We don't like go into details too much about stuff for the show, but we just could not help ourselves this time around.
That's just how
Um,
good Mass Effect is.
yeah, spoiler alerts, it's still good. Which we'll jump into some more details later, but yeah, it's been pretty good. It's been pretty beautiful out. It's starting to really starting to feel like spring is there. It's getting hot. It got pretty hot today, but I know it's everybody's favorite topic on a podcast is weather, but it's just nice having been having the windows open the last few days and
Yeah.
all that. I'll say one thing though, really upset me, really grind my gears was I got really excited when it preloaded Mass Effect because I got it digitally. I think on Wednesday,
Right.
and um, I'm like, oh, I went and looked at the I preloaded it. I went to look. I looked to show me the timer when it's gonna like when you can play it, and I was like, oh, okay, that's different because usually it's 11 p.m. here, so
Yeah.
it's always midnight Eastern, so 11 Central Time, and I'm like, okay, this one says 10 p.m. Oh, that's awesome. Like I'm off Friday, Thursday night, 10 p.m. It's gonna pop up. I can play it, and I was basically like all night. That's I got off work kind of early for me on Thursday, and I'm like, I mean, my whole evening was like, I'm just killing time until Mass Effect. It's like Christmas Eve. You don't really. You can't do anything because tomorrow's Christmas. It's like I don't want to do anything. I just want to fucking. All I'm trying to do is kill time till I can open my presents, and it's like the same thing. But I just want to be able to boot up fucking Mass Effect. So it was like 9:52, 9:53, whatever. I pull up PS5, starting to look at the countdown, playing on my phone, whatever. Just probably scrolling through TikTok and just waiting to fucking play this game. I watch it, and it gets down 10, 9, 8, all the way down to 1. I'm like, all right, here we go. Playing some fucking Mass Effect. Backed up to an hour. I'm like, are you titty fucking me right now? I no. I'm like, what the fuck? So the game didn't actually unlock until 11, but it told me 10, and it was very upsetting. I was so mad I went to bed. I just went to bed. Like fuck this, I'm going to bed. I don't even know. I don't even want to wait for it now. I could have done shit. I could have watched a movie. I could have fucking. I mean, I don't know. It's like I wouldn't like I would have done anything important. I wasn't gonna fucking cure cancer or anything. But it's just like I specifically wasn't like the last like hour or so. I'm just like I don't really want to start anything because I'm not gonna be able to finish it. So I was like, I don't want to start a movie or whatever movies I want to watch. But I was like, oh no, I'm gonna like fuck. Could have wasted my evening waiting for Mass Effect. But yeah, first world problems I know. But no, I'm doing pretty good though. Otherwise, just gonna enjoy this. Still got a couple days left on this long weekend. I'm gonna probably cry like a baby though. 2 days from now at this exact time, when I go to bed. Don't have to go back to work, but yeah, I'm feeling all right. Uh, but yeah. I do want a couple things here off the top. Uh, Obviously, if you, no, I guess not obviously, but if you are just joining us for the first time or just found us again or whatever, blah blah blah. We have been on account for a long. We've had this feed for 8 years. Begin at the end of April, it got shut down due because of Katy Perry, and we lost our feed, lost our channels. Uh, the only thing that's not affected is our YouTube and Twitch channel. So we started up new feeds, new channels, starting all over again. All that. We are growing. We're now on Spotify and Google Podcasts. I just want to point that out. We are not as of yet on Apple Podcasts. I'm not really sure what's going on with that. I've been trying to figure it out, but I'm not. Like I said, I haven't set this shit up since like 2013. So it's been a while of me trying to remember how to do all this shit. So yeah, I'm working on that. But as of right now, we're on Google Podcasts and Spotify. So you can, if you want to listen to an audio, we're pretty much in most things but Apple Podcasts, which sucks because Apple Podcasts is obviously the biggest thing for people. We're like 80% of podcasts are listened to. But like I said, we are on Twitch every Saturday night. We record on Twitch. We don't have like a set time, but it's usually around somewhere between like 7:30 and 9 o'clock Pacific time where we go live. But the video version. But if you want to watch us a video, we're also on YouTube. Just look up Drunk Nerds and you'll find us. I post those immediately after the show's done. I just move the Twitch recording over to YouTube, and it usually goes up middle of the night, Saturday night, Sunday morning. But then the next day, usually Sunday night, Monday, the audio version will go up as well. So yeah, just working on that. Bear with us. Thank you guys if you found us, or if you're new, or if you're a regular listener. I know 99.9% of our listeners were audio. And like I said, we're starting over again, but we're trying to we're doing the best we can with the situation we dealt with. But Gables, I want to jump into some news here. not a lot going on this week. It's been kind of a light week, but there's been one, I think, pretty interesting news topic this week, Gables. And I think this is something that really will pique your interest.
Okay.
Yeah, or probably already has piqued your interest. And this is about Donkey Kong.
Mm.
Um, so if people don't know, there was a Donkey Kong rumor. Nintendo rumors are always, I feel like, the the most iffy, because even if it comes from a pretty good source, because there's some pretty good Nintendo sources out there, a lot of times it's not always hitting. Like remember there was that big, there's that Star Fox F Zero
Oh yeah,
crossover game that was supposed to. Remember
that whole
that leak
thing.
came out like it was like around this time. I think it was like May 2018. It's like, oh, there's that F Zero Star Fox crossover game that's gonna be shown off at E3. Turns out the game has existed, but the game got canceled. We found out like a year later that game got canceled, but it was never actually going to be at E3. But yeah, but that's like one big example. But it's always like problem is there's so many Nintendo rumors out there that it's hard to find them.
It truly
Like
is.
every time there's a direct, they it leaks every single time beforehand. But there's so many fake direct leaks that we don't believe it. But then afterwards, we always find like someone posted the day before or the week before or whatever. The shit leaks, but then there's so many fake ones. You know, what's the saying, like the boy who cried wolf or whatever kind of thing. Um, but this one here is I don't remember who it came from. A highly respected Donkey Kong fan site DK Vine chimed in a report as the following. Okay, I'll get to that later. I'm sorry. I'm trying to find out. Oh, a lonely Goomba, who is a pretty good source for Nintendo news. Um, he mentioned that the Mario Odyssey team that made the awesome Super Mario Odyssey game for the Switch in 2017 is working on a Donkey Kong game. It's not necessarily going to be called. There's been some conflicting rumors from people that it's going to be 2D or it's 3D or it's 2.5D. We don't really know about that. But it probably won't be called Donkey Kong Country because I can't. I can't. I'll try to find the name of the team. But they don't like working on like titles that's not that there aren't theirs. So probably Donkey Kong something, but it won't be probably won't be Country. But there's a rumor that they're working on it that it's going to be coming. The good chance will be at E3. I'm just gonna read this article. This is from Nintendo Life. Donkey Kong is one of Nintendo's oldest video game characters, and while the series has seen some massive releases over the years, Donkey Kong Country, DK64 being the two notable examples. Which that DK64 probably shouldn't be in that, but whatever. The franchise has remained pretty dormant since Tropical Freeze, which made made its debut Wii U 2014, but was ported to Switch 2018. However, there are rumors that Nintendo is looking to resurrect the series by uh, bringing it in house with development currently underway at Nintendo EPD, which originally was made by I just spaced the name, the Metroid Prime people,
Yep, Retro
Retro.
Studios.
They made they made the last two Donkey
Hmm.
Kong countries, um, but Nintendo EPD is the team that made Mario Odyssey, and that's apparently who's working on them. YouTuber Lonely Goomba, who has mentioned that the rumor and the passing on social media, and other sources have also discussed it, but Nintendo Life can confirm that has heard the same rumor from an independent and very trusted source, which would appear to lend its report some degree of legitimacy. However, our source claims that the game will be in 2D and not 3D, while other people are saying it's in 3D. Zippo is the first person that leaked it. This has come from him. Uh, it's a it's a it's the Big Apes 40th anniversary, which that's crazy. I
Yep,
think that's a lot of anniversaries
there
this
are.
year. Um, we got a bunch of 35s and a 40. Um, it's the Big Apes 40th anniversary, and while I'm not sure how Nintendo is celebrating the occasion, there is a new 2D DK game being developed by EPD Tokyo. Retro is obviously busy with other things, so Nintendo has taken it upon themselves to bring back DK, which uh, back in an Eternal series. Don't expect the country moniker to return, as EPD Tokyo are not interested in making sequels to games that didn't make. Diddy and Cranky and the Kremlin crew should all be returning in this installment. It sounds like this game is launching before the end of the year. An E3 announcement seems very likely. Um, so let's see if there's anything of interest. Oh, so which also was kind of interesting about this. EPD Tokyo made Donkey Kong Jungle Beat.
Okay.
They worked on Donkey Konga, Donkey Kong Jungle Beat, and Mario vs. Donkey Kong. So not their first foray into Donkey Kong games, but kind of an interesting change from um, this the Mario Odyssey team. I think we all assume they just went right to work on the next Mario, maybe Mario Odyssey 2. But yeah, I mean, like I said, it's always hard to judge um, what Nintendo rumors because there's always I feel like there's so many that come out and most time they don't come true or there's some bits of truth in there. But I mean, Gables, what's your thoughts on hearing this news? And I mean, how are you feeling on it from like, uh, where are you leaning? Yes, yay or nay on it being true? And what's your thoughts on if it is true? How would you feel uh, about this
All
rumor?
right, so when I first heard about this Donkey Kong news, I kind of looked at it as a sense of, yeah, I understand where it's coming from. It's the 40th anniversary of Donkey Kong. Apparently, there's going to be something along the lines that's going to be celebrating this landmark, considering that Nintendo has, like he touched on before, had a couple of different landmark years for key franchises. Pokemon and Legend of Zelda and Metroid actually have come to mind. But for Donkey Kong, having these dual conflicting things kind of brings me some doubt that there is something big coming inside the Donkey Kong series in of itself. But at the same point, I feel like if we're going to get another Donkey Kong game, then it's going to be something on the lines of the 2D foray, because we've had the last couple outings
Mm-hmm.
to where it's been Donkey Kong Country Returns, then Tropical Freeze. Hell, I would love it if like we got like another like traditional like 2D style like Donkey Kong Country game or ish type of game. But in general, do I believe that the rumors of a 3D Donkey Kong game is going to be coming out made by the same makers that did Odyssey? I don't firmly believe that, but at the same point, I mean, I would be, if the rumors turn out to be true, I would be heavily excited upon that because there are a couple of things that I'm keeping in mind. One, Nintendo has done some redesigns from some characters from the Donkey Kong Country series over the past couple of years. Diddy Kong is one. I know Cranky has been another. Even though they were tied with, like, say, Tropical Freeze when that released in the on the Wii U and stuff, and most recently the re-release on Switch. These characters have like updated designs and stuff. They can be heavily marketable if they are pushed right in terms of like a main like media push. And you know how Nintendo currently is still trying to push a lot of their IPs inside of like the almost like the Hollywood foray and stuff. Like say for places like Netflix, I say like making movies like with Sony Picture Entertainment and stuff with Mario and this and that. You know, it's definitely within the realm of possibility to make Donkey Kong a bit larger in regards of scope, recognition, and scale as, say, like a Mario or a Pokemon or some of that sort. But yeah, I don't feel like this game is going to happen. But like I said before, if this rumor is true, then this is going to be a fairly interesting reveal this coming June. That's what I would feel. If we're going to hear about it, if we're going to see anything, it's going to be during E3 week.
Yeah. Um, I'm leaning towards it being true, on it because, like I said, we hear a lot of Nintendo rumors, but it's very rare that like when these rumors do come out, like you'll see Nintendo Life or Nintendo
Yeah,
Everything. You'll see some of these sites. They'll mention it in articles, not necessarily backing it, but they'll say, "Hey, this rumor." Oh, sorry, excuse me, very burpy. IPAs again. Uh, but they'll mention, "Hey, these rumors are out there," but they're not necessarily backing them. They're just saying, "Hey, this is a rumor." But we're seeing IGN back this. We're seeing like not saying like the be all end all that means 100% truth, but like typically we don't see the bigger sites like GameSpot and all these jump on these
right.
rumors. Like so, I mean that makes me wonder. Like I'm buying this a little bit more because like I follow Nintendo Everything and Nintendo Life on Twitter, and just because because they cover a lot of shit that like the bigger sites don't cover. Obviously for Nintendo stuff, and I like seeing that. But like I said, this being covered by this is a pretty big story, and it's the fact that other people are jumping on it, mentioning it, not necessarily backing it, but they're mentioning it. That gives me a little more credence that it could be true. I'm hoping though it is the 2D style, because we've seen DK64, and it just seems like that style of Donkey Kong. Like I mean, not to say that like they couldn't do it. We've seen Mario go from 2D to 3D. Obviously, that fucking worked, and you can argue that 3D is more important than 2D in some ways, and we've seen that issue with them. I mean, I guess not necessarily true with the Super Mario Wii U
Well,
Deluxe or
right.
whatever
At
is
the same
selling super
point,
quickly.
I would also point out that Mario Odyssey did have some good like 2D, 3D moments inside of that game in and of itself.
Yeah,
And if it's like the same developer that's producing this supposed Donkey Kong game, then that would even make more credence of it being like a better foray inside of that, instead of what Rareware
yeah,
did back in the day with Donkey Kong 64, with the 3D elements of it being kind of wonky in certain places. I mean, the camera didn't really pan inside the directions that you would have thought it was. The game
yeah,
was good overall, I thought, but at the same time, what held it down mostly was the force of collecting a whole bunch of unnecessary collectibles in this game. It's notorious for being one of the worst collectathons inside of gaming history, but the camera angles, some bits of the level design can be a little bit like can be like a little bit boring in some retrospects, but at the same point, it's like where we're making that game and making it like the 3D. This is like obviously Donkey Kong's first outing in 3D back then, but it would add more credence of the game actually being sort of better in that retrospect if it's made by the same people as with Mario Odyssey, to where they could easily explore the terrains of, oh, okay, if it's like a 3D platformer style, then we could just have an elaborate like Jungle Japes level or something like that where you get to explore certain aspects of it. Or if it's like one of the specific pieces of like say the DK Isle or something where it's like you have the main jungle and then you go up the Donkey Kong Mountain quintessentially up until you get to the certain points where you have your snow levels or this or that where it's like explorable, this and that. It's definitely possible to adapt it in a way, but me just trying to picture it as say sort of like a Mario Odyssey s type of game, I really having a hard time kind of seeing it, but yet I would be excited if that was the case.
yeah. I mean, and Nintendo's great at that. Like shit we don't think is even we couldn't even think of, or things we don't think that like that doesn't seem like how's that gonna work, and they fucking pull it off. We would have thought a game built around a fucking cap
Yeah.
would be awesome, and Odyssey was. So that's a good point. I mean, look at DK64 was it's very hit or miss. People either people love it because it's, but I think a lot of people love it because it's Donkey Kong, not so much because it's actually a really great game. But it's also early days of 3D gaming, and there's a
Oh
lot of
yeah, the
garbage out
bunch
there.
the 3D
Um,
platformers.
yeah, I mean that's just there's a whole generation lost of shitty 3D platformers back then. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, I guess like if anybody could pull it off, it could be them to do it. I just look at like I'm not a big 2D gamer guy. It's been especially like Nintendo 2D games. Like I'm not like I've never been a big 2D Mario guy or anything like that. Um, like I enjoyed them. I recognize they're really great games, but they've never been my thing. But I loved Tropical Freeze. Like playing, I played that. I remember getting that on Switch when it came out and just plowing right through that. I beat the game in like a week or maybe less, and just really enjoying it. And so it's like I would like to have another one of those, but I don't know. I mean, I just it's mixed feelings, where it's just like it's kind of like the Naughty Dog news, where it's like, oh, the fuck, they're working on Naughty Dog remake, that kind of remaster, that kind of sucks. It's like I want them to work on the next big thing, It's like I'm not saying Donkey Kong's less thing, but it's like I was in my head, I'm like I'm hoping they're working on the next Mario Odyssey 2 or whatever, and it's like, oh man, I'd rather Rare was making, or not Rare, Retro was making Donkey Kong, but obviously they're making Retro. I don't know. I have a lot of different feelings about it. I just hope it's just good. I was hoping we were getting. I mean, that meant we were getting like the next 3D Mario soon. I'm not saying that's not possible, but I guess it's like, who the fuck's making it? What's going on with 3D Mario's? I don't know. I'm all over the place on this one. I really don't know how I feel about it, but I'm not the biggest Donkey Kong guy. Like my biggest, but like I mentioned earlier, these guys made the Donkey Kong games and Jungle Beat before Tropical Freeze. Those are the only games I liked from
Really,
Donkey Kong,
yeah.
really. With the Donkey Konga and the Jungle Beat, I fucking was the king of Donkey Konga, and Jungle Beat, love that shit. Beat that shit all the time. Love those games. I hope it. What if it's just Donkey Konga 3? That'd be amazing. Let's just do that instead. I would be fully
Or
on
what if
board
it's
for a
like a
Donkey
more
Konga.
evolved form of
Bring
Diddy
that on.
Kong Racing?
You shut your fucking mouth, Gables. you you don't bring that voodoo into this. Don't you're gonna fuck there now. That game didn't exist until you said something. And now they're like, scrap
They just went
everything,
back to
guys.
Donkey Kong
We gotta
Pilot and
make
just went through and just took that idea and just put it into something else.
Yeah, it's like, you know what? Scrap this game we've been working on the last 4 years. We got 6 months to make and build a Diddy Kong racing game because Gables made it happen. Because he said the words, and now it's a thing. You son of a bitch. Uh, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I mean, we're getting closer to E3. I mean, we don't really know the details of E3 and what's going on, but we're gonna hear a lot of bull. I mean, every year we hear a lot of rumors and bullshit, and a lot of it's some of it's true, some of it's not. But speaking of E3, Gables, this has actually happened last week. We just didn't get to it, but some more studios are now involved with um, E3. Sorry, I had a brain fart there. Um, Square Enix, Sega, and Bandai Namco are now signing on to do E3. Doesn't necessarily mean they're going to have their own events. I know Square Enix is planning on having uh, whatever that, what was that, Square Enix Presents or whatever it was.
Oh
They
yeah.
said that they're going to do one. They had one a few months ago, and they said they're going to have one this summer. So no confirmation that they're going to have that direct or whatever. I can't remember what it's called, but no confirmation that they're going to have their own event. Could very well just like they're going to have a game at somebody else's press conference, just like I imagine. Well, Bandai Namco is supposed to be having. There was that. I think they're gonna start doing their own fucking their direct style thing here soon. Sega is probably just gonna have something there. But yeah, we have more studios involved. Also, yeah, so Square Enix, Sega, Bandai Namco are gonna be there. XC Games, Gearbox Entertainment's gonna be there. Um, and then Konami said that they're now pulling out of E3. So originally they were one of the original press release. They were one of the studios that said they were going to be there. Now they're no longer going to be there. They had a, a headline come out saying basically what they had is not going to be ready.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean that kind of sucks because the the rumors that the rumors have been for a while that it's going to be Silent Hill, um, and there's been more and more rumors. And I remember the composer that of the original Silent Hill games. He was doing an interview about before the Medium came out because he did the music for the Medium. He did a thing about he thinks his next project he's working on will be announced in the summer, and it's the one you're hoping for. So everybody's like, "Oh fuck, here we go! It's gonna be fucking it's Silent Hill. It's happening." So, and there's been those rumors about PlayStation and them working together. So I don't know. I mean, it's exciting to hear more stuff about what's going on. You know, we're gonna have more and more people at E3. You know, and now as of right now, we have Nintendo, Xbox, Capcom, Ubisoft, Take Two, Warner Brothers, and Koch Media are gonna be there. Um, we don't have the only thing we have right now is we have the Ubisoft Forward on June 12th, and no other news as far as like press conferences, how this is gonna work. Um, and I mean, without like I want to do a prediction thing in a week or two,
Okay.
but I mean, what's your level at like on a 1 through 10 scale of like hype or excitement for this E3 going into it?
All right. So this E3, I actually have an expectation. I have actually a rank of like 7 out of 10 because I'm fairly excited to see what's going to go on because there is quite a bit of buzz going inside this E3 post-pandemic stuff. What's Sony going to go through and show us? What's Nintendo going to do to show through? And then like see what they have for the rest of this year. This well, not just the rest of this year, but until the next fiscal year. And also, what's Microsoft going to be going through and showcasing for us, like if anything at all, for the rest of the year, other than like Halo Infinite? It's
Yeah,
definitely a big old excitement. I know I'm excited personally to see if Sega and Atlas are going to be going through and potentially getting a whole bunch of port jobs done for specific games, maybe inside the Persona series or like the Semigami Tensei game series in general, because like I think it was like either a year ago or some odd like Persona 4 Golden made its way onto Steam, and I
yeah,
I bought that like fucking day one because I want to support that game because that is a fantastic game. It's a 100-hour plus RPG. It can be daunting for those that are not familiar with that type of style, but once you get into the story, once you get into the gameplay, it's fantastic. But overall, I'm going into the excitement of like a 7 out of 10, personally.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of about that same level because the kind of the thing I've been seeing from a lot of like journalists stuff like that who normally like have some pretty good and pretty are pretty credible about leaks or confirming news or just talking about stuff or setting expectations. Like they're usually pretty good about this. A lot of them are saying is like they're really trying to keep expectations set at a decent like rate. Don't go like this will probably be. I mean, it's E3. Even like I remember 2019 we talked about a lot about where it's like I think a lot of us kind of came away from E3 where it's like that was okay.
Yeah,
Like it wasn't a great one. There wasn't that big holy shit moment. There was there wasn't that big thing. It was a lot of more we seeing stuff that we've already seen before. Some smaller announcements like super early in development stuff. And it was just kind of a mediocre E3. And it sounds like from a lot of people is like keep your expectations in check because
uh,
people. I mean, we always hear about we everybody knows about COVID. We're all tired of talking about
yeah,
COVID. We're all tired of hearing about COVID. We're all tired of dealing with COVID. More importantly, um, but when we talk like we forget like for a lot of us, a lot of normal people, a lot of other people, it's like not no, I shouldn't say normal people that like work 9 to 5. There, we're just outsiders looking in the gaming world and just in general in the entertainment world, stuff like that. Where it's like we know how affected we are with COVID, but it's like people don't like like for them like they had to keep working, but they couldn't go. Like we had to keep going to work every day normally,
yeah,
whatever. We obviously wore masks, social distance, all that. Those people like all right, work from home, deal with the stress of COVID, also work from home. We got to totally redo the entire way we do things,
yeah.
because we're no longer in an office together. What the fuck is a Zoom? What is Zoom? What's Discord? I don't know what that is. All that. Um, and like a lot of people are saying, a lot of insiders and journalists and stuff are saying, is like, um, like people don't understand how badly affected um, they were by COVID,
Yeah,
for just continuing to progress and make things, and how they still are. You look at Japan, who is right now setting record numbers for COVID cases every day. Right now, like
mm.
they are worse now than what they were a year ago or six
Ah,
months ago. India, same thing. Like they are spiking more than what they were. They're not like how bad we were in our top. What per capita, they're as bad as we were, you know, 6 months ago, 4 months ago.
wow.
As worse, like the United States and Canada and North America and some other countries like UK and stuff like they're coming out of it. We're reopening. We just got the CDC just said that we can vaccinated people can now go outside without wearing a mask. We're starting to see things reopen up now. I'm starting to see like concert tickets going on sale. People
Yeah,
are announcing tours and shit like that.
yeah,
And it's like, oh, it's exciting. We're getting out of it, but it's also scary when you look at like these countries were like 6 months ago, a year ago, were like a fraction of what we were getting. Like we were looking at them like as we're having 60,000 new cases a day, and they're having a few thousand. It's like or less than a hundreds a day. And it's like, what the fuck are they doing? Like why are they like they're like barely affected by this, and we're you know being devastated by this daily. And now it's like kind of like everything's switching for them in a way for us, where it's like we're coming out of it. Obviously, it's still a big deal. COVID's not going away. All that blah blah blah.
right.
But like it's stunning. It's like so like you gotta see that like for like as it's you got people gotta think though, we're coming out of this right now. Doesn't mean they've gone back to like a lot of places are still working from home.
Right.
Like they haven't gone back. Some places are just now going back to working, in the office. So it's like they've been working from home, and so it's like we gotta remember like, I mean it sucks. We don't want to think about that. It's not like the movie industry where they just put a movie on ice for a year. Like Fast and Furious 9 was supposed to come out last April, and now it's coming out at the end of June. Black Widow was supposed to come out last, I think, March, and it's coming out in July, I think.
Yeah,
It's like, it's not like the movie, like the video game industry is definitely different, where it's like, as soon as that shit's done, put it on a disc. It's got to go out now. We got to ship that shit. It's not the movie industry where they can film something. They filmed the next year's Christmas movie last September, and it just sits on ice for a year plus. It's totally different. So they said it's more about just keeping expectations in check. It's like I'm gonna do my best. It's like it's incredibly exciting because E3 is my favorite time of the year for the most part for video games. Either Extra Life and this are like my two most looked forward to things every year for video games. Um, So you definitely want to keep things checked. And I feel like people are still going to want to bring their A game and try to do the best they can. But I'm also going to go into it like I mean, if we do get some cool announcements, that shit's probably going to be a long ways off, or it's going to be, we might see a lot more CG trailers than what we're used to seeing from previous E3s. But I don't know. I'm just excited that E3's back. It's like we've been talking about the last year plus now about do we need E3? And it's like I've always come from the standpoint is like I don't care if E3 is a thing, but I like E3 for what it is, and it's like it doesn't have to be called E3, but if everybody can come together and is like, all right, this fucking week we're gonna fucking all come together and we're gonna just do press conferences and do our own, yeah. So I don't know. I'm kind of with you though. I'm like a 7. Do my best to keep it in check, but it's hard because it's E3. It's the most wonderful time of the year, Gables.
Mm.
They wrote songs about it. It's literally a song. It's the most wonderful time of the year. I mean, what else would they be singing about? Not Christmas. E3. But speaking of press conferences and all that, EA did announce that EA Play will be coming on will be happening, but on July 22nd. So they are not going to be. Usually they in previous years they haven't been a part of E3 for a while,
Right.
but they've always been when E3 was still in person. They would be across the street or down the street or a little bit away. They still have an EA press conference or EA Play, but then they'd have like a whole thing set up. Even last June they did a EA Play around the E3 time, but now that's not happening. They're going to do their own thing in July. It sounds like this is kind of like the news we've been hearing is like I think Bandai Namco is going to have their own event sometime this summer as well. They announced, but
Mm-hmm.
we don't know for a fact if it's going to be with E3 or not. And that's kind of people are thinking Elden Ring will show up there. Which that's like Elden Ring is like the Voldemort of fucking internet, where it's like you don't say the name Voldemort out loud. Elden Ring is not something you say on the internet because it becomes a shit show whenever you mention it. But yeah, there's a lot of hype because with that. But I imagine that'll be there. But I don't know. I mean, it's just seems like whatever time EA Play like is usually like the most bleh, fucking E3 press conference. I'm kind of happy that's not a thing at
Right.
E3 because we
Right.
always do every year. For years we would do we do an episode for each fucking press conference, and every year with E3 or EA would happen, and we would like it'd just be like 15 months. Well, they fucking talk about Madden, they talk about FIFA. There's some updates on some fucking games they got going on. We got some developer commentary on a game they announced 4 years ago, and it's like even like the EA Play last year we had where it's like we're showing you Dragon Age for the third fucking time, but we still have gameplay. Oh, we're
Some
showing
more
you.
conceptual art.
But it's conceptual art, or it's like here's some like just some generic fucking motion graphic stuff we made, but there's no art. It's just a model moving around, or here's some Battlefield 6 stuff going on. But we do know for a fact that early June, EA did confirm that early June we'll be having Battlefield 6 will be revealed. They want to get it out there before E3. And the big blow off will be at EA Play in July for that. But I don't know. I mean, it's EA Play. I don't really expect
Yeah.
much. I think the biggest thing we had ever from EA Play was Skate 4 was announced.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just like literally it was like, hey guys, we're making it. We haven't hired anybody besides like 3 people. We got to make a whole studio, but we're making it. So I don't know. Gables, what's your thoughts on EA Play?
Honestly, not too high upon the expectations because they really don't like keep a lot of people's interest because they talk about the same things. And like you were just stating, Skate 4 was the biggest announcement that they had, and it wasn't even exactly for gameplay or whatsoever. It was just the thing that they just like the spur in the moment, like the last minute. It's like, yeah, we are currently in the process of making Skate 4, and it's like you can even tell even the interview with the person that's like the lead maker itself. It's like, yeah, I've been called in and stuff like that. We're gonna be making Skate 4, and this is gonna be this and that.
Yeah. So yeah, who fuck knows? Like yeah, it's like we bitch about the same. Like we always get our hopes up because there's like they have so many cool IPs that we love.
Right.
So it's like but it's like it's always so disappointing where it's every year they just keep showing us the same shit. It's like why? Stop doing this. Um, I don't know. I mean, I'm gonna watch it. I'm gonna have some hope for it, but it's like the biggest issue with them is like yeah, we get so many dev diaries from them. They announce shit way too early.
Yep.
Um, they like, I mean, how many years in a row did we see Star Wars Battlefield before the first one came out, or Battlefront? I'm sorry. We saw Mass Effect Andromeda like 3 years in a row.
Yep.
Um, I mean, on and on. Like I said, Dragon Age 4 was revealed in 2018,
Yep.
and we've literally had we had 2018 Game Awards, we had 2020 EA Play, where there was nothing shown, and then 2020 they announced, hey, Dragon Age is gonna be at 2020 at the 2020 Game Awards, and it was literally just a teaser trailer. Like you guys have been like you teased this, you can't do a teaser trailer 2 years later. You can't. You get one teaser trailer. You get to tease us one time, and that's it. That's it. That's it. That's all you get. You get one teaser trailer, whether you're a movie, a TV show, a video game, what the fuck ever. You one teaser. That's it. You don't get to do it, and on top of that, 2 fucking years later, you don't get to do it again. Fuck. So, I'm curious what's gonna happen with Dragon Age 4, because if there's not gonna be any gameplay, I don't even give a fuck about Dragon Age 4. I really truly don't. But if there's no gameplay at this fucking thing, I will blow a fucking gasket. I don't know why. About something I don't give a fuck about, I will lose my goddamn mind. It's either don't talk about it, which actually would be infuriating as well. It's like why do you mention it if you're not even you're just gonna keep ignoring it. It's like what the fuck are we doing? I don't know why I got really upset there, but I did. But let's move on. Speaking of EA, this is the thing that was announced at the Nintendo Direct a couple months ago, which was like the worst video game trailer I've ever seen. Like I was audibly angry while watching it. That's how bad the trailer was. But then they showed it off again. I think it was at a State of Play.
Yep.
Like a couple weeks later, and like they just focused on the game. And I'm like, oh, this is actually pretty good. This actually looks pretty cool. So Knockout City, which is that they call it Dodgeball, but it's basically like a multiplayer dodgeball game where you can do 3v3 or 4v4. It's a $20 game. It's coming to everything: Switch, Xbox, PlayStation, Steam, Origins, Epic Game Store on May 21st. Like I said, it's gonna be $20. Fun fact though, this is something it's gonna be coming to EA Play day and date. So if you own if you are a subscriber or whatever to EA Play, it'll be coming on there day one as well. But and so therefore, if you have Game Pass Ultimate, you can that means you have EA Play, means you can play it on there as well.
Right.
But a really cool thing, I like what they're doing on this one. Normally we don't mention this, but I like this idea a lot. Is that Knockout City, for the first 10 days it's on market on May 21st, will be free to play for everybody. There's no catch. There's no bullshit microtransaction stuff. You playing. There's no level caps or whatever. I don't know how it works, but they said the first 10 days the game's gonna be out. It's gonna be fully open to everybody, and then at the end of on May 31st, so on June 1st, the game will be closed off, and then you can either pay for it or have Xbox or get EA Play or Game Pass. I love this idea.
Right.
It's something we talk about. It's such a hard part. We talk about this. Like I remember EA. They did that last year at EA Play. They showed off Rocket Arena, which remember the time that game came out, and it's like $30, and then we remember like everybody looking at that game doesn't look very fun at all. It looks like it's like Overwatch graphics, but it's a fucking Quake knockoff is what it is. You know, it's just the Rocket game in Quake, and it's like this. And it's like we see so many games like this all the time. That's like I don't understand it. Or it's like we talk about these smaller games, somewhat like just even we see even bigger game studios do this, where it's like we just try to get into the space that's popular. It's like, why are you getting into this, especially online, where it's like you need other players? It's like, how many of these actually succeed? This is even in like the PS4 generation era. This was like 360 generation. Where
Yeah.
there was remember all of these fucking online only games would come out like for like $10-15, and no one gave it, like they'd be popular for a couple weeks and they fall off, or nobody gave a shit. I remember Rock Arena came out last year, and literally within days, and I mean days, it wasn't even a full week on the market, that thing was slashed in like $10.
Yep.
Like that's how they were just, no one bought it. No one gave a fuck. I'm not trying to talk shit about the game. I'm not trying to speak ill of the game. I never played it. I don't know if people liked it or not. No one played it. No one gave a shit. It's like every time we see these games all the time. We see like every fucking week there's like 10 of these games that come out and nobody cares. It's like, why do you make them? If big studios fucking flop, Anthem, BioWare flops with Anthem. It's like, why do you think? I mean, obviously there's cases where like Fortnite blew up, Rocket League blew up. It happens. Shit happens. They blow up. But it's like, there's like a 1 in 1,000 chances it's gonna happen. But this has the push of EA behind it. We've seen it at multiple events now, State of Play, Nintendo Direct. Um, but I like this idea where it's like this game's against the push. They did some betas for for preview events, stuff like that. People really seem to like it. Come back with good feedback, and I just love this idea. Like I'm not sure if who knows if it's gonna work. It's $20. It's not super expensive, um, but I just love this idea of like, hey, I mean, we saw this just a couple months ago with Outriders, where like no one gave a fuck about Outriders. It seemed like that game felt like it was gonna come out and die. Speaking of live service game, that like why are we trying this? And then the demo came out where it's like, oh, everything you do carries over. It's 2 weeks of just playing the game before the game comes out, and everybody finally got a chance to play the game, and the entire feelings of that game flipped. And it's like that game came out, and there was some. I'm not saying it's not probably not a 10 million seller. Or it's not like, I mean, it was number 3 on the NPDs last month,
Right.
but it's like that game came from like it was gonna die as soon as it came out to like there's a lot of good buzz coming into it right going into its launch, and I feel like I don't know who knows, like I said, I don't who knows if this is gonna work out. Outriders probably it's not it is not the what's the phrase I'm looking for? It's not the it's it's not the example. No, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I've lost it. But it's not going to be like it's not going to happen all the time. That's probably just a once in a blue moon type of thing situation where Outriders was. But I like this idea of just like I said, we see these games come out all the time. They just come and go, and no one gives a shit about them.
Right.
And it's like this one feels like it's got a shot. This is probably the best way to if this is gonna be free, and free to play has a bad fucking aura around it. No one wants to. There's so many free to play games out there that are bullshit microtransaction stuff. So that'd be tough for this game to do that. Um, it's only $20. And it's like, hey, we're gonna come out. You can be on Game Pass and EA Play, but for 10 days, everybody's got a shot. You can all play it. If you like it, after 10 days, you can buy it for $20, and it's got cross-play and all that. So I don't know. I'm not like I said. I don't know if it's gonna be work out. I definitely am gonna check it out. But I mean, I have Game Pass, but also I mean, I'll check it out anyways. But what's your thoughts, Gables, on Knockout City doing this?
Well, honestly, I think it's the best thing they could have possibly went with because not a lot of people, from what I've heard, were interested really in the overall game because of the whole Nintendo Direct thing that it was showcased on. But at the same time, because they're going to go through and get that trial period and stuff before they initially charge their full retail price for it, it's going to get a lot of people go through hands on with it, see if it's their game or not, and we will more than likely see what's going to happen from there and whether or not it keeps, like, if it's kept around or if it like fails miserably and stuff. But I feel like having it free to play or basically a glorified kind of beta in that retrospect, is a good thing. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I mean, this game looks like it could be fun. So I mean, I think that's what's got me a little more jazz in general. But yeah, I think if this works out, I could definitely see a lot more people doing this. Might be the best way. I think this is a totally cool idea. Um, I don't mean other people might have done it before, but I've never seen someone do this. So yeah, we'll see how it works out. But moving on to that's it for the news. Like I said, it's been kind of a it's been kind of a slow news week. I think it's just gonna be more about the next couple weeks is gonna be building up to E3. Hopefully we get some dates and some times here soon.
Oh yeah.
Um, and I'm sure usually towards the end of May, the last third of May and beginning of June, it's rumors and leaks. So I'm hoping this time next week we start to hear some shit. More importantly, I hope we get some fucking press conference dates and times because Daddy's jonesing. But let's move on to what we've been playing. Gables, if you don't mind, I'm going to go first.
All right, no problem. Go ahead.
All right. So I've been playing a few games. First up, I want to just talk about real fast new Pokemon Snap. Jump back into that. I'm probably my game time is around 4 hours, so not a lot of time, but a decent chunk. I keep going back to it, and I really enjoy playing the game. But everything else about the game, it's the same thing as I've been complaining about. Really frustrate me. It's just I don't understand how the star system works. I don't understand what they're looking for when I take these pictures because I take these pictures and I'm like, oh, I lined that thing up. He's dead center. There's another one in the background. I fucking got it. I got a Magikarp jumping. I got like midair. I got another Magikarp in the background. Oh, I got a Magikarp jumping in the air, but there's a Magikarp in the water eating an apple. It's dead center. Fucking perfect. 2-star. I'm like, what the fuck do I gotta do? What do I get? Then I get a 3-star of like Magikarp doing something completely random that doesn't seem interesting at all. I'm like, what? So that's I like the game, but the more like I enjoy the parts of the game. But what's frustrating is like the actual playing the game is like the least part of the game itself. That you spend less time actually playing the game than you like, while playing the game doing the pitcher part than you do anything else. Like there's more time talking to people or getting scores for stories and all that. I don't know. It's like I said, I like it. I like playing it. I'm gonna keep trying to go back to it and play it more. But after like 30 minutes, I was like, all right, I can't play it more than like 30 minutes. That's kind of where I'm at. But so I don't know. If I don't know if I can keep playing it, but I got plenty of shit to play right now.
That's true.
Because we touched on the beginning. But yeah, I don't know. I'm not. I haven't given up hope yet. But yeah. Another thing I want to jump into. So I talked about last week. I played Resident Evil 8, and I was really enjoying it. I was only probably 4 or 5 hours into it. I can now say I beat it, and I fucking love this game. It is awesome. I cannot believe this. Gables, like I've talked about, if you listen to this for a long time, or I even mentioned last week, Resident Evil 4 is my favorite games of all time. Before Resident Evil 4, I never even, I barely touched 2, never played 3. I beat Resident Evil 1 on PlayStation back in the day, but it wasn't like I was a huge fan of it. But I remember beating it because I was like, it was a game I had. When you're a kid, you don't care what the fuck the game is, you just play it.
Exactly.
So anyways, even like it's funny because like I talked about last week as well. Like I've beaten every Resident Evil, every numbered Resident Evil game 1 through 8. And I beat a couple of side ones too, like Revelations 2. But like I've never like come away from like loving them besides 4, especially not 6. But I was like, this one fucking hooked me. I really fucking love this. Like I was like each section was I really enjoyed for the most part. My favorite parts of the game was like kind of the Metroidvania of it. Every time you get this new item or this new skill, and then you go back to the village, which is like the main hub of the game, and you can like do shit you couldn't do before. It's like you would like in like a Metroidvania, where I unlock this thing now, so now I can use this to unlock this to like open up this whole new area or get these treasures. It's like having like the upgrade systems with the weapons and be able to buy upgrades or like find treasures and items and combine them together to make even more items that worth more and all that. Like it really hooked me into it. I love the world. I love the fighting and the combat was really good. And this Resident Evil 7 I liked it, but I wasn't like I finally beat it last year after a few attempts of playing through it, and I finally beat it. And I was like, I like that game, but I never like I didn't come away from loving it. It's like remember like Justin loves Resident Evil, and I know that, but like I remember that I think that was like his number 3 game of the year of 2017 behind Breath of the Wild and Odyssey. And I know a lot of people like no disrespect to any of those people, like a lot of big Resident Evil fans love that game, and I understand why. Like if I had a good decade run of garbage, it's just and like you finally have a good game, like you're gonna be more excited about it. It's like coming from Metal Gear Solid 4, and you get 5, which is a really great game, but it's not Metal Gear Solid. And then you get Survive, and then we get and then if I even got like a mediocre Metal Gear Solid game, I'm like, guys, it's great, it's really good. That's how I'd be. Sorry, but I cannot believe how much I like this game. Where I love the combat, I like the bosses, I like the boss fights. Like it is what I want in a survival horror game. It's Evil Within, it's fucking Dead Space, it's everything I wanted. It's got good combat, but it's got some good scares, but it's not overly like reliant on scares. It's not an Outlast. It's not, Resident Evil 7 was, used combat, but it wasn't great, but it was more about, the horror. It was more of a survival horror, like more horror than, combat than anything like that. And this one is just like, there's definitely like some scary stuff to it, but it's the combat is really fun. Like I said, I like finding weapons, getting the upgrades from weapons, buying stuff, adding attachments to them. The boss fights are incredible. It's hard to talk about that stuff because I don't want to spoil it too much, because every area is unique. I felt like the last chunk of the game I did not like that much. It's the story of Resident Evil I don't really care about. I don't really care about the lore. I do find it kind of fascinating to like hear people talk about it that are really into it, but it's like I don't Not doesn't mean I like it. It's just kind of interesting what they do with it. But the last chunk of it, it's just kind of I didn't like the last like probably like hour or so of the story and kind of where it goes. Um, but yeah, wow, I cannot believe that how much I can't wait. Like I was this game is coming out. I'm like I'm looking forward to this. I think it'll be a good game. I think I'll like it. But come away from I beat it on Sunday night. I beat it in like 3 sittings. That's all. I just could not stop playing it. Like I said, I was going back every time, finding all the collectibles, and then finding all of them. I missed one goddamn file, one fucking file. Pissed me off. Couldn't find it. I don't know. Don't know where I missed it. Don't know what it is. Um, like I was maxing out my fucking upgrades. I was trying everything I could. Oh, is that the German taco? I hear the German taco.
I don't know why he's barking. I just need to check for a moment.
Oh, if he's adorable. He can do whatever the fuck he wants. Uh, Gables is gone now, so now the real show begins, guys. We're gonna show some nudes. Sorry, no, we're not. But no, I just this I cannot believe like I'm shocked by how good this game is. And there's like sections where it's, like I was like I said, I was finding everything. And like a good chunk of the game, I felt like overpowered as fuck. Because like I said, I was searching for everything. I was finding all the items, all the treasures, trying to find everything to like sell or upgrade my shit. And I had so much fucking ammo. Like I didn't have to worry about like my biggest pet peeve with the last few games was like how much time of the game. Like I talked about the time with 7, 2, and 3, where I beat them all last year. Was like I spent probably a good 15% of the game. Like I had too much shit. Like I couldn't carry any more stuff. So I was constantly running back and forth to the safe rooms to put shit in
Right.
my suitcase, whatever the fuck you want to call it, the storage case in the safe room. But it drove me nuts because like I said, I'm constantly running back and forth, because I had so much shit. And this game, you don't have to fucking worry about it. Like I upgraded my case size for my storage size, but there's no in the safe rooms. There's no storage thing. There's not really a safe room really in these games. But there's no like storage to put in. But you don't have to worry about it because you can buy more room if you want to. But even like there's 3 of them you can buy, and really the second one I was totally fine. But I bought the third one anyway. But I had more room, and you could do the Tetris thing and move them around to fit all like your ammo shit. But like I said, I was swimming in ammo. I was swimming in fucking mines and fucking pipe bombs and weapons and all that and first aids or whatever, and was nowhere near running out of space. And but the last chunk, there's before the very end, I didn't like. There's a chunk in between there where I was having a fucking blast. Where it turns more into like, it focuses more on like the shooting aspect. Where the other one, like the first, it took me like 9 hours and like 22 minutes. I think was my final time to beat the game, and that was with me doing a lot of side shit. Um, but like, there's like for the most part, it's a good balance of like fighting enemies and then like okay, the horror stuff. Are you being chased by something, or you're doing this, or you're doing that? But you're constantly like you're finding more shit, and it's never really about like you're constantly running low on ammo for the most part, because it seems like whenever you like, there's no punishment for doing side shit.
Right.
Whereas like, I'm gonna go like, oh, here's like, okay, here's my path. Well, I'm gonna go over here now. I want to see what's going on there. And there's a wave of enemies you gotta fight, but then after you fight the wave of enemies, there's a bunch of fucking ammo and there's treasure and there's shit like that. So you're never punished really for exploring. And like it really wants you to explore. And it's not more of like, because usually Resident Evil games are more based on they want you to replay the game more and more. And then as multiple playthroughs go on, then that's when you focus on the side shit. This one, it's like, no, you could do everything in one go. There's a chunk before the chunk before the last chunk is it really turns more into a action bit. And I cannot believe I'm saying this, but it is my favorite part of the fucking game. I could not, like, there's one chunk where you're fighting hordes of enemies. I loved, and I never thought I would say that about Resident Evil game because we think about 5 and 6. Those games are so badly are just like they want to be like Gears of War.
Yep.
And but they also want to be a horror game, and they're not. They're the worst parts of both, in one game, and yeah, like it's hard. Like I said, it's hard to talk about this game and go into details, but it's fantastic. I love it, and I can't believe how much I love this game. Just all of it. The characters, the way it looks, it's fucking beautiful. The Hardy engine is like the most incredible thing in gaming right now to me. Other than the Fox engine, which is the Metal Gear Solid game, Metal Gear Solid 5. It's probably the best looking engine in games, like on consoles anyways. Yeah, it's a wonderful game. I'm stunned. I'm shocked that I liked this game as much as I did. But moving on, Gables, we talked about at the top of the show.
Hmm.
Um, Mass Effect Legendary Edition came out. I was off. I had yesterday, I had yesterday on Friday off. I had Saturday off. I'm off. I don't have to go to work until Tuesday. Uh, I was going into it like I haven't really talked about it on the show because I was just want to keep it to myself because I was like maybe I'm in my head about it a little bit too much. Where it's like, man, what if Mass Effect just isn't that good? Maybe what if it doesn't hold up? Because there's all these games that we love when they come out, like Resident Evil 4. Just talked about one of my favorite games of all time. I tried replaying it again on 360, like 2010. Does not age very well. It's not a terrible game. It just doesn't age very well. And really, Mass Effect, even back in like 2007 when the game came out, like playing it again a couple years later, I'm like, oh man, does not age very well. This is like a couple years later, um, and there's still some problems. Like the game it's not 2021 good as far as what we're used to in gaming.
Right.
Like the especially for combat as far as that goes, um, and not say that this is like top notch gaming today, because the Mass Effect has never been about the game. The game like 2 and 3 are much better. They basically just copy the Gears of War formula, but when Mass Effect came out, the original Gears of War just came out the year prior, so we didn't have that formula where we saw so many people copy that and just do that. Um, but like it definitely plays a lot better. We have it's kind of like a nice middle. I was talking about how like Resident Evil 5 and 6 wanted to be, especially 6, wanted to be Gears of War but also horror, but it was
Hmm.
the worst of both. And this remake is definitely it wants to be Mass Effect 1, which is more RPG focused, but also it's trying to be Gears of War like, and it does a good job of doing a good job of both, but it's not great at both. But I feel like it's definitely much more improved. It looks stunning. It definitely has. I can rephrase like a little bit. So it's kind of like when you watch like like a movie made in like the 1990s. And
Hmm.
they put it on DVD or they put it on Blu-ray, and it's like okay, you can still tell this was a game or a movie that was made in 1990, but it just looks prettier. It looks shinier, and that's kind of how this works. Like I'm playing it 4K 60, and wow, it looks. I mean, definitely does. I mean, doesn't look like a fucking uh, God of War or like Gears of War 5 or anything like that. Like it doesn't look that fucking gorgeous, but my God, it looks really really good for a game that was made in 2007. Just not a remake, just remastered to the 2021. Um, but man, like I said, going into it, like I was worried about maybe it's not gonna play as well. Maybe like the story's not as good as. Maybe I've just blown up so much in my head. I beat the game 3 times before. I beat it when it first came out. I beat it again when Mass Effect 2 was coming out, and I beat it again when Mass Effect 3 was coming out. Um, like I said, but I was playing through them. Like even like then, I recognized it didn't age very well. It wasn't that I think the gameplay, but like like and I was worried like, oh man, like that was 10 years ago. I was gonna play. Like I said, I'm really enjoying it. There's definitely I gotta be totally upfront. Playing through it again, like there's some bugs and some issues and some glitches with it. The game, like I said, the gameplay it's not gonna be like fucking top notch Gears of War 3 or Gears of War 5 or Outriders or Division 2 like Call of Duty. It's not gonna be that great of gameplay. Um, but like I'm definitely coming into it as a fanboy of Mass Effect. But I am having a fucking blast with this game. Like I'm all hooked into it. The best part about Mass Effect is the world and its characters, and that's what's most important about that game is learning the lore of it. Like it's the most fascinating lore to me in gaming, like ever. Like especially, I mean, I come from like I'm a big space nerd. I love astronomy. Like love watching videos and reading about astronomy and all that. So I already on top of that already got me a little bit. And it's just like learning about all these races that like they built this from the ground up. This is like this isn't based off a book. This isn't based off a movie. This isn't like they built this, and it's like in from the get go they have like this whole world planned out. You can read like it's not just like they have this world they built like they have lore going back, because it takes place in like I think it's like 2160 or 21 no like 2190 or something like that. And they have lore going back all the way to like you know right now, like talking about the progress of like how we got to where we were because it's you're playing a human in this era, like the humans just finding these alien creatures 20 years ago and like still dealing with that and like the first thing you did as soon as you fucking found these aliens you went to war with them and you're just getting out of that and all yeah it's just yeah man it's so good. I can't believe how much I'm enjoying it. Sauron is still one of my favorite villains ever in a video game. I'm going through. I beat, I said I beat this game 3 times already. It's my fourth time beating it. But just going through and I'm still doing all the dialogue options, doing that because the big thing about this game is like you can be the good guy, you can be a bad guy. You pick there's dialogue trees, and just learning the lore and the background of all these characters, and like between every mission, going to talk to everybody in your party and all that. It's like I got to the part where one of your characters can live or die, and I remember my first time I beat this game, he died. So my original playthrough um, of the Mass Effect trilogy, my one of my characters he died in the first game, and he was gone for the rest of the game. So I never actually got to experience the game all the way through with this character. So I'm excited the fact that this character is alive, and for the first time ever, I'm gonna be able to play through all three of these games with that character alive. And in the second game, I had two characters die, and I'm gonna do my best, hoping that everybody survives, and then I can play the whole game for the first time ever with everybody living.
There you
I'm
go.
I'm so excited about this prospect of like it's like I said, I beat these games multiple times before. Well, Mass Effect 3 I've only beat once, but I beat Mass Effect 2 twice. I beat Mass Effect 1 3 times. This is my fourth time now. Um, but it's like it's so exciting where it's like a lot of ways for me. It's like this is my fourth time playing, but it's so fresh to me. Like this the how excitement of like these characters that weren't here before will be there now when I get there because like you can carry over your saves. But oh man, I'm curious how like I want to hear from people that didn't play this back in the day, because that's like some like it's fascinating like reading on Twitter or listening to podcasts where it's like people that are like the generation right after us, where it's like when these games came out we were right out of high school,
Yeah.
18, 19 years old, and those people that were middle school, maybe into elementary school, these games were too early for them. So I can't wait to hear what they have to say about this, because like I hear a lot of people like me that played the games back in the day when they came out kind of in the same boat. We're like we're raving about the game, but yeah, I don't know. I mean, Gables, like you got it too. I know you're early on though. Kind of what's your early impressions?
So far, it looks pretty good from what I've been seeing from the lighting, from the frame rate, fidelity stuff. It was fairly interesting looking at the trophy list, and a lot of the trophies are tied in from not just Mass Effect 1, but like all three games, especially when you had to
Yeah,
go through and kill like a specific amount of stuff, or you have to do the bionic stuff and all this other various class stuff. But what's also interesting is there are a cluster of trophies which may actually be some of the hardest that depending upon if you want to do that or not, and that's going through insane runs on all three of the
yeah,
Mass Effect games. That is killer. I tried doing that once with Mass Effect 2, was not successful because definitely a it was definitely a hardcore experience to say the least, especially if you get like a couple of shots. You get like a couple of shots and all of a sudden you're like in like a couple of hits you're down, especially if you're
yeah,
early on in the game. But so far what I've seen is I've pretty much like what I've seen so far. I need to get into the gameplay, I need to get into the various stuff, but all of it is starting to come flooding back to me. This will be my third time playing through the original Mass Effect. Granted, I played through once the 360, once the PS3 when that version came out. I've encountered my fair share of glitches for those versions, which I've been hearing that there's some that are still prevalent inside of this version. So I'm going to be
mm,
seeing what is going to happen next with this.
yeah. Yeah, there's definitely some quality of life stuff I like. I will recommend though for you, Gables, from what it looks like I can understand, is that when you play the game, you can pick between focus on frame rate or focus on uh, fidelity and all that,
Oh,
on graphics. And so in the options for PS5 and Xbox Series S and X, um, if you put it, you can put it on the one that focuses on graphics. I remember what it's called. That one will play in 4K 60. You can put it on the other one; it'll just be on 1080 60. So you
oh,
might as well just put it on the fucking 4K one because that's. I started playing the game. I was focusing on frame rate, and then I looked into it. For what I can understand is, if you are on the current gen consoles, it doesn't matter which one you play it on. They're on 60 frames per second. And
right.
well, on Xbox Series X, you can do 1440, 120 frames per second.
Oh, yeah,
So
okay.
because they have the unlock. So lucky bastards. But yeah, I like that idea. I like the other thing where like there's the level cap is you can change the level cap how you want it. So in the first game, in the original game on the PS3 368 days, the level cap was 60, but the only way to get to the level cap was you had to play a minimum 2 playthroughs to get there. Sometimes for me, I remember it took me 3 playthroughs to get there because I didn't do so much side stuff. But in this one, you could still pick that option. But in this one, you could there's a legendary mode where the level cap is 30, and you're earning you're getting XP and skill points faster for your skill trees. So it's basically like you're leveling up to 60, but you're doing it in half time. So it's like almost like it's not quite double XP, but it's close. So I've been doing that. I'm almost 20 hours in to Mass Effect 1, getting pretty close to the end. I'm probably less than probably like the 8 hour, probably about 8 hours left, probably before I finish it. Um, and then I'm gonna jump to the Mass Effect 2, but yeah, I'm doing that. I think I'm at like level 26 or 27 right now. I'm hoping I can get to the level cap before I move on and get to beat the game. But yeah, oh boy, it's incredible. I can't. Yeah, it's been a good week of gaming, Gables. Resident
Yes.
Evil 8 blowing me out of the water, and then Mass Effect living up. It's just like when I turned the game on, like, I didn't realize, it's like it's been the last time I played a Mass Effect game was I played Mass Effect 1 and 2 again, not too long before Mass Effect 3. I think I played Mass Effect 1 in 2012. I played Mass Effect 2 in 20. I think it was also 20. No, I played them in 2011. I beat Mass Effect 1 and 2 in 2011 for the third and second time respectively, and then Mass Effect 3 came out early 2012. And that was the last time I played a Mass Effect game. And I remember like doing all the DLC and like it was my when we did our game of generation for that generation, Mass Effect 1 was number 3, and Mass Effect 2 was number 1 for my games of generation that year. Um, like that's like, and I've forgotten how much I love those games, how important they were to me. Like when I got to the start screen of Mass Effect 1 and I heard the music and I pressed start and I heard the noise, my eyes welled up. I was just like, I'm home. This is it. I'm back. Like I haven't heard that music. I haven't fucking been in this world. And like the last time I played these games was like Mass Effect 3, and I've only ever beat Mass Effect 3 once. I don't remember damn near anything about Mass Effect 3. Like it's like I've like forged it on my mind because I thought it was a bad game, but I remember just the ending was just so, eh, you know. Whereas it's like, like I don't remember Mass Effect 3 at all. Um, and that's like my final memory was like beating Mass Effect 3. So it's exciting to like jumping in, and it's like I said, I'm doing it. This is my fourth time. But it's like I feel like a lot of ways it's my first time because just the differences that's gonna come from this. So yeah, oh man, I can't believe like how excited to be excited about Mass Effect again for the
Mm.
first time in almost a decade is incredible. Like just being excited about BioWare. Maybe we should be excited about BioWare, but I don't know. It's just like one of my favorite franchises of all time, one of the best game franchises ever. Um, it's incredible. It's like who would have thought, after Mass Effect 2 came out, where we'd be with that was 2010, I think, 2009.
It was
It's like we're it
2009. Yeah.
was 2009. Okay, well, who would have thought though this time, we're it's in 2009. We probably would have thought there's gonna be 10 of these fucking things. They're all gonna be fantastic. Who would have thought we would have got two really great ones, a third one that who knows? I can't wait to play through it again. But I remember coming away from it really liking it, but I don't remember loving it that way. And I think for the most part, a lot of people didn't like it. So it's just exciting. Like who would have thought 10 years later, Mass Effect would be this this franchise is on life support. Um, so yeah, I don't know. It's just fun. This is why we play games, man. To have that feeling, and it's just it feels so good to have that feeling again about Mass Effect. So that's what I've been playing. Games. What have you been playing? Anything else besides Mass Effect?
Let's see. I have been heavily invested inside of the newest season for Destiny 2, and we're talking about season 14, which is season of the Splicer. So, what this is all curtailing about is in regards to the Vex. So, what you're doing is you're trying to collect these little data strands, these like synthicores or whatever the hell they're called, the ether and all this other stuff. That way, you get to use these like various like type of products in order to craft like new items, not just for like the transmog stuff that everyone else has been kind of up in arms about, in regards to that. And yes, there are a series of missions inside the main story where you can go through and like have examples of okay, how like how are you going to do this to try to do like a transmog like this or that, But from what I have initially used of it, I haven't spent any money towards doing transmog stuff, but I have decided to sacrifice a couple bits of armor that I did have in order to make certain ornaments and stuff. So my current guardian, my titan, that currently is at a light level of 13, 14, is has his last season's like weapon ornaments that I had earned through the previous season pass, the $10 season pass that I bought and stuff. I got all these little these little ornaments and stuff for my armor and this and that. So I got that combined with my exotic helmet for my Titan, my Kepri horn, which is basically like a giant. It's like a mainline sort of helmet and stuff, like no mouth or something, but it has like these three horns, like two in the back, one in the big old front and stuff that glows, depending upon what type of sheen. And I love the look of my Guardian so far because it's like a big old golden sheen or something on it. But what I've loved so far about this season so far, the emphasis on the grenade launchers. There's a lot of mods that you can go through and earn through the artifact that's going to help in regards to trying to get like the grenade launcher up to snuff in some retrospects. There are some weapons that I've released in this current season that I have been trying out a little bit. Ignition code is like a grenade launcher and stuff that has like various like random perks that may be interesting in regards to like say what RNG you get for some of these rolls. So you could get something that has like say that could regenerate your health or something upon like killing something, or you can get like say like a quick draw feature to where it's like you can just draw incredibly fast and stuff and like just shoot things. But a lot of the mods inside these artifacts and stuff, which have like in past seasons focused upon specific items as well as like specific types of different types of abilities depending upon what class of guardian you are and stuff. Those are back and present inside here, and they're mostly, for the most part, they feel good in like certain aspects. I mean, the first column, it's like separated inside of like different types of tier columns, right? And so for the first column, up, down stuff, you have different types of mods that deal with, say, with barriers, with trying to do like an overload in terms of like staggering something, or in terms of like having some sort of like improvements upon speed or targeting of a specific like weapon and stuff. Yeah, I've just been going heavily involved into upgrading that on top of upgrading my like a splicer gauntlet, which plays a role when you play the new mode that they have, the six-person horde mode. Pretty much, it's you against the Vex. It's called Override. And so the purpose of Override is you're collecting a bunch of ether and stuff. You have to upgrade and like literally like collect enough ether and stuff to have resources to create these charges inside your splicer gauntlet. And once you get that stuff all filled up and stuff, once you complete the Override like main activity mission, which resolves around you defeating a whole bunch of enemies, depositing data motes inside this big old like digital sort of tower and stuff, and then you facing off against like the main, getting into like the mainframe of the Vex and stuff to try to do a lot of other story related stuff. You get a chance of these two chests, right? One is for like the everyone like just everyone in general, like a freebie and stuff, but the other one is for the type of the charges that you get that you like from your splicer gauntlet, and so you use those charges in order to open certain these particular types of chests, and this gives you the more powerful items in regards to what you can get, like powerful weapons, powerful like armor, specific mods, like mod things you can equip onto your armor and stuff that you would not have had before. But I went I went pretty deep inside this, so I'm not gonna lie. There were a couple inside of the season, like in past seasons, they are listed from like week one all the way down to like the end of the season, like week 10 or week 11 or whatsoever. So in these weeks that this season remains active, you have a chance to level up your season thing quicker by achieving a lot of these different type of tasks. Like for example, if you go into the Crucible mode and you go into the specific match type, which is Team Scorched, which gives you like a 4v4, I think, of like you and your team against this other team, and you're using nothing but these scorched rocket launchers. And so you're firing off these rocket launchers and stuff like that. It's sort of like how Halo back in the day had that certain mission where that certain like multiplayer type where nope, everybody just had like these rockets or these gravity hammers or whatsoever and just kill each other all over this. If you get a specific amount, you can unlock one achievement, or if you like went through a whole bunch of strikes and defeated a bunch of like Vex mini bosses and stuff like that. You completed that achievement. But the purpose of you wanting to try to go through and like get these stuff done is you unlock not only levels of your season thing that you have currently, but you get to unlock certain things in the artifacts. Like one like a power one like for power for your artifact, which inside the artifact, like I was mentioning before, you have you have a maximum of 10 levels, right? At the artifact itself, you have like 12 charges, all in all. So, in order to unlock these specific type of mods and like different types of abilities and stuff, you have to manually go through, level up, gain the experience and stuff, and then unlock them manually through the charges you collect. So, if you have a maximum of 12, you can unlock like 12 mods in all. Some will unlock based upon how many mods like you have used. So you can't just go and just pick randomly, like and say a column 4 or 5 or something, and then do like a column 3 or something. You have to go from like one all the way until you unlock the next tier and stuff from like 1 to 10, when essentially. It's a little bit more complicated with me describing it, and it's more better with like a visual example. So I would suggest for those listening in, if you are a Destiny 2 player getting interested in trying to play a little bit more of it, I would suggest looking up a couple different videos on YouTube because those have been the most helpful for me so far. So far, I have leveled up past the soft cap, which is like 1310, and then like the hard cap's like 1320, and then if I wanted to try to inch up to the pinnacle cap, which is like around 1330 or some of that sort, I have to complete a whole bunch of different missions that specifically like can get me to level up, earning items to get up to that point. But I do like the bunch of the story elements. I thought that the multiplayer mode definitely feels nice, and I got to admit though, so far I'm liking what I have been playing. I'm waiting on Monday or Tuesday so that the next week can unlock. But other than that, though, I have been enjoying my time. But I'll tell you what, I am more excited to go through and play some more Mass Effect. Hmm.
Fuck yeah, man.
Yeah,
Yeah, man. What a world. What a world we live in. Outside of all the shitty stuff, with war and COVID,
yeah,
video games are awesome, man.
yeah,
Video games are cool. Ah, man, it's been a pretty shitty first chunk of the year for me for video games. I think for a lot of people, just general. But man, I feel like the gods of video games have spoiled me this last few weeks, especially this last week with man RE4 on my birthday, RE8 on my birthday. We got Mass Effect on Yoshi Fett's birthday.
yeah,
He's a friend of ours that podcasted for years.
yep.
He was on a podcast with us, our Game of
Years
Generation
ago.
podcast
Yeah,
actually, um, in 2013. But yeah. Oh my god. I feel usually I go to bed right after the podcast. I kind of want to just go and play fucking Mass Effect right after the podcast. I'm not gonna lie to you.
I know, right?
I stayed up. I haven't done this in a very long time, Gables. I stayed up till 2:30 in the fucking morning last night
Oh
playing
God.
Mass Effect. It was
Oh
so
God,
good.
we are getting
And then I
so
woke
old, and
up
that has to be our highlight. Where we stayed up till
right,
2:30 in the morning.
right. Like it was nuts because I remember, I'm off Friday, like I was talking about at the beginning, and I was like, oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna play. Even in my head, I was just like, all right, I unlocked it when I thought I was gonna unlock at 10. I was like, I'm off Friday. I'm gonna stay up till like 11:30. I'll play. I'll get through the tutorial, get through Eden Prime and all that. Get to the Citadel, whatever. That was that was my mindset. I knew me so well. That's how old I am. Where it's like I'm gonna stay up till 11:30 tonight, Tyler, on a night when I don't have to get up early. That's like fuck yeah, man. It's like that. I mean, other than like when we record the show, just because you're 2 hours behind me, it's like it's 12:30 here right now. I'm usually in bed even on fucking weekend nights
Yeah,
before by midnight. I'm in bed. Like on Friday nights, I still don't even I don't even stay up till midnight usually. That's a big deal for me. Even like this is even like 5 years ago, I wouldn't have done this really ever unless it was like a gamer night or something like that. For video
Right.
game wise, I didn't stay up super late even still. So yeah, it's a big deal for me to stay up super duper late to play fucking video games. So especially, I mean, I'm sitting here playing through it, and I was just like, man, I just felt like 18-year-old me again, and that's what it took me to transport me back to. It was just like playing this game for the first time all over again. And I was just having flashbacks to me playing that game for the first time. Oh my god. Oh god. I hope the new Mass Effect's good.
I know, right?
That's all I gotta say. I hope Mass Effect 3 is good right now. Honestly, that's all I'm thinking about. It's like I didn't beat one yet. I'm like, man, I don't even remember. I literally don't remember a fucking thing about Mass Effect 3 besides the very beginning and the very end.
Yeah.
Everything in the middle is a fucking blur to me. Like that's I don't know why. I don't know what it is. What happened about Mass Effect 3? Like did it hurt me that badly that I just erased? I tried to erase everything, but I couldn't. I just couldn't erase the ending from my mind. I don't even know. I don't know. God, it's amazing. It's like you always talk about like people always talk about like if you can use the Men in Black things, you erase your memory and replay a series or a game again. What game would you pick? And I think I did that, and I don't remember. Like I invented that machine, and I did that for Mass Effect 3, but it didn't work quite well enough where I still remember the ending. Like I erased everything else about the game but the last like hour. So, oh my god. And I'm excited, Gables. You know,
Oh yeah.
got a 4-day weekend here. A couple, not this weekend, but next weekend we got Memorial Day weekend. So that's 3 days of Mass Effect right there.
Yeah.
And then I don't have shit to play until fucking E3. Then we got fucking Final Fantasy 7 DLC in next June. That's awesome. Then we got fucking Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart June 11th. That's fucking awesome. Then we got E3. Bam. It's gonna be a good couple months, Gables. This is incredible.
Whew.
Holy shit. What did I do to deserve this? I don't know, but I'm feeling it. Like the gods are coming all over my face, and I'm just bringing in video game gods. Just shower me in your jizz. Um, podcast style, shower me in your jizz. I won't do that. I think we might get in trouble for that. I'm not sure. Um, but
Just burn
should probably
whatever's left of the podcast.
yeah, or one remaining thing we have YouTube. It actually has all of our old content on it. Like, did you? I'm sorry. Did you say shower me in your jizz? Is that? Yeah, we're gonna take this down. We're gonna. I'm sorry. You're done. You're done. That'd be the death of the podcast. Katy Perry and me being jizzed on. That's what did it. Which seems right, honestly, for the way that when this podcast started to like now. Katy Perry and me getting jizzed on seems like the right way to go out. So I don't know. It just seems appropriate. But I don't know. We should probably get out of here because now I'm just rambling. I'm like 6 beers in, and it's 12:30 in the morning. So yeah, it's funny. I stayed up till 2:30 in the morning last night. I still woke up at 7. I don't know. I was like, I gotta get just to sleep in. But anyways, thank you guys so much for listening. Like I said, we are not on all the places. We're in some of the places. I'm working on getting us in all the places. We're on Google Podcasts, Spotify. We're based on everything but Apple. We're on Pandora. That's the thing. We're on it. We're on a lot of shit. We're on Audible.com. We're on everything, but we're on YouTube, Twitch, Spotify. We're on everything but Apple right now. So just look up DrunkNerds Podcast. You might find a different feed. If it ended at 425, the last episode on there, that is not right. That's the old feed. I don't know how to get those to close them down. But you can, those feeds don't work. You click on the links, they're not going to do anything. You got to find the other one. Or the other feed. If it has 426 that's us. We're there. So yeah, please, we really need it more than ever. We need subscriptions, likes, thumbs ups, 5 stars, comments, reviews, shares. Now more than ever, we need your help. Really would appreciate if you did those things for us. It helps us with the algorithm, helps more people see us. We really appreciate that. I was Tyler.
And I have been Colonel Gables. Until next time, everyone, hope you have yourself a fun time this week. Definitely play yourself some fun video games. And most importantly of all, thank you for listening to another fun-filled episode of the Drunk Nerds podcast.
And hey, Gables.
Yep.
Too sweet.
Too sweet, man.
Bye, guys.
See ya.